Well, I don't know if this is working or not. I haven't used it in a while. On my screen, it doesn't look right. It's kind of flickering, but have you noticed what's missing in our elections? People who would like to vote for more than one candidate, and granted, that's rare by the time voting comes around because there's usually only two left and not the best ones of the ones that started, but those people are generally told to vote for only one, even though they approve of more than one candidate. So why are they not allowed to cast their full vote? Isn't it supposed to be one person, one vote, not one person, one facet of one vote? Well, the problem is that the instructions don't allow them to do that. No, not ranked choice. Ranked choice voting is actually um, a bit of a scam in that sense. It lets a person cast more than one facet of their vote, but it doesn't let them get all of those facets counted. So it ends up effectively sort of the same, especially when people game it or don't use it correctly. Ranked choice voting is not bad. It's much better than what most people in the United States generally have. In fact, most people in the world don't have anything quite that good. Some do, but we could actually get something quite a bit better than a ranked choice with a very small change in elections here in the USA. Just wherever it exists, remove the restriction on how many candidates a person can vote for. If you've got a 5 seat election and the instructions say vote for up to five, change it to vote for as many as you want. And if you have a 1 seat election and the instructions say vote for only one, which is effectively the same as vote for up to one, because if you don't vote at all, you're voting for zero. Again, change the instructions so they say vote for as many as you want. Problem solved. In a multi seat election, we already have the ability to count multiple candidates for the same position. The same exact counting will work on a single seat election. Now, if the instructions say vote for up to five and you vote for four candidates, they know how to count that and they don't throw it out. But if the instructions say vote for up to five and you vote for six candidates, they throw that away. And why? They know how to count that as well. You count it just like you would if there were 6 or 7 candidates or 6 or 7 seats available and you voted for six candidates. It's the exact same counting. Each candidate that you indicate approval of, you get that approval counted. I see my channel is being spammed already. Let's see. Put the user in timeout. Um, yeah, timeout. There we go. Yeah, I have been off of here for a while due to health issues. Just uh, wanted to get back in here, and this is something I really just had to talk about. I actually have a poll up on Twitter. Don't know if I can. Can I bring that up? See if I can get that on the screen. Uh, put a poll up asking people if they have at some point wanted to vote for more than one candidate and ended up unable to do that. And most people are saying that, yeah, too many times. Um, now, let's see. If I bring this, how do I do that? I have to add something to this. I'm trying to remember how to do that in StreamYard. There is a plus thing somewhere. present. I think that's what it was. And screen share. There it is. And let's see, share screen. I have the option of Chrome tabs. Let's see. Can I open that in Chrome? Should be able to. There it is. And open up the pinned tweet. And let's see, try that again. Present, screen share, share screen, Chrome tabs. It is not letting me share that one. I don't know why. Okay, try window. This should do, I think. There we go. Okay, that's the poll that I put up. Let's see. I don't have my reading glasses on. Hold on. Let's make it a little easier. What did you write? Garrett wrote, I only had 2 or fewer options on my state/local ballot. You think being able to vote for multiple candidates would increase the number of candidates willing to run? Yes, exactly. You hit the nail on the head. That's the whole idea. And there are several things behind that. For one, candidates, it's running for a political office is hard work. It's expensive. It's exhausting. And you tend to get slandered by your opponents, even if you haven't done anything wrong. So, it's not something that a lot of people are anxious to do in the first place. And if they think their chances of winning are really slim, they've got even less reason to bother running. And in a system that only allows one vote, one fraction of a vote, one candidate to be voted for by each voter, candidates end up having to decide, do I want to stay in the race along with other people who are representing the same things as me, that are more or less like I am, and have people who want that kind of a candidate divide their votes up amongst us? Or do I want to get out of the race and let them have the votes so they can beat the candidates who are representing something else? The ones that they consider the worst candidates. And what usually ends up happening is the more generous, the more selfless, the ones who care more about other people quit early because they don't want to take that vote away from some other candidate. Well, if we allowed people to vote for more than one candidate, they'd have no reason to do that because it would be impossible to inadvertently take a vote away from another candidate. The only way they could take a vote away from another candidate is by bad mouthing that other candidate and getting people to believe the things they're saying, whether they're true or not. Just getting people to go, oh, I don't want to give a vote to that candidate because I believe these bad things about that candidate. And just representing the same things as another candidate, just wanting the same things as another candidate, or promising the same things as another candidate would never take votes away from that other candidate, because people could vote for all of the candidates who want the same things as the voter wants, or at least are saying they want the same things. And there's some question of, how do you know if they're telling the truth? Well, that's a little trickier. But at the very least, if somebody's been in politics a while, you can look at their record and you can see, and that helps. But we usually end up with the worst of the worst. When it comes time to vote, most people don't even bother to register because, why should they? How are they going to make a difference when there's nobody on the ballot they're willing to vote for? So I'm hoping that some people might see this and spread the word that, we can do better, and encourage candidates running for election to say that they will fight to get rid of that vote for only one restriction. Oh yeah, I lost weight. Not as much as I wanted to though, so I hid my body. Yeah, trying to do the best I can to make a positive difference, and it's a difficult thing. But I, appreciate that I've got some people on here actually hearing me out. Any questions? And besides what's already been asked, because I'm not sure what more to say. If I should just end the stream and maybe make another one some other time, or what? I think I said the main things I wanted to. If I go back to 2016, 2020, we had Bernie Sanders running for president. An awful lot of people wanted him as president. And I know there's been talk of how the election was stolen and stuff. I don't say too much about it because, it wasn't stolen from in 2020 from the then president. But I do feel that it was, in a sense, stolen from Bernie Sanders in the primaries. Never even managed to get to the general election. And here in California, we made him a certified writing candidate in 2016. Also, kind of stolen from him, in my opinion. Just my opinion, well, actually, a bunch of other people's opinion as well, but that's beside the point. I don't know if he believes it was or not, but he wouldn't say it even if he did, because he wants people to believe in our system and have faith in it. And I'm not big on faith. I think it's good to have healthy skepticism about pretty much everything, and look at things carefully and decide for yourself. But regardless, we can improve the system we have, and it would help a lot if we had better people that we could elect to help make the system better. And if we got rid of that restriction that says vote for only one, we could do that a lot more easily. Okay, Tobin says there are many people that are apathetic to government. I think government has an image problem in a nutshell. Yeah, you're right, but there aren't nearly as many people who are apathetic as it would seem. A lot of independents actually care more than Democrats and Republicans here in the USA, and choose not to be a member of a political party because they care about democracy and they care about their independence, and they recognize that being a member of a political party means that you're expected to vote the way the party tells you to, rather than the way you feel you should vote. And unfortunately, the way the system is set up, it gives independents very, very little power to do anything in an election. For one, because where's an independent going to run during the primaries? And yes, you're right, Tobin. Getting more people involved is extremely important, and Bernie Sanders has said that many times. But it's a difficult thing to do. Again, independents tend to care very much about democracy and about independence, but getting them involved can be a really hard thing to do, in spite of the fact that they care so much. So they end up looking apathetic. But it's hard to get them involved because our system is set up in such a way that there isn't really much they can do. Now, they can get out and volunteer, but unfortunately, they're rarely asked to do that. Instead, what they end up being asked for is money. And, well, most people don't have much money. So, you know, asking people, send money, send money, send money, um, it just kind of turns people off, and not really all that helpful. But again, it can be expensive to run for office. Um, Garrett says, the only problem I could see arising from multiple choice voting would be massively increased numbers to contend with. I don't know if that outweighs the benefits, though. I would say the benefits extremely outweigh that. And yes, that is an issue. I mean, as it stands, just having one or two candidates in each election, it's still a lot to research. But the thing is, you don't have to research them all. You can choose to, or you can choose not to. And most people don't. I mean, most people just don't. They don't research. But they see ads and they hear things and they talk with people. So they still pick stuff up and they still form opinions. And that's really all democracy is about. It's collecting people's opinions and trying to get a sort of collective opinion, and work with that collective opinion. So yeah, having more choices means that you can ignore the ones that you've ruled out. Anybody that you think this person doesn't seem worth my time to even look into more, you can rule those people out without ending up with nobody on the ballot that you have the option to vote for. When there's only two choices available in an election, when we get down to one Democrat and one Republican, and that's it, that's all you have to pick from, you, if you want to vote at all, you have to do your research. You might be able to find maybe some write-in candidate who's valid, but again, you have to do the work to figure that out, because they're not going to be on the ballot. And if you want to pick between the Democrat and the Republican, well, I mean, lately the Republican Party's kind of gone crazy, so if that helps, can just eliminate the crazy party. But what if you got a good candidate running under the crazy party? I mean, it can happen. And what if the candidate running under the party who's not gone crazy, but also hasn't exactly been great to the people? They make promises, and sometimes they mean them, sometimes they don't. Even when they mean them, they have a hard time following through. Well, if you really got a good candidate, even in the crazy party, it might be nice to know that. So, but then, like I said, if it seems like neither one is probably going to be worth your time, but they're the only two you've got to pick from, you're going to have to pick. And that means having to do a lot of research, even though there's only two candidates. So if you had 10 different candidates available on the general election ballot for the same office, you're in luck, because all you got to do is find one good candidate to vote for, and that's enough. You can vote for just one. You don't have to vote for more than one. But if you have the option to vote for more than one, that increases the chance that you'll have more to pick from in the first place. And if you can find more than one that you approve of, it gives you a more powerful vote, because you have more chance of having voted for the person who wins if you can cast a vote of approval for more than one candidate. Let's see. Would this take the air out of the voter fraud conspiracy theories? I don't believe it would. It might, but I don't think so. However, I will say this much, though. Those people who think that there's a voter fraud thing going on, or that elections were stolen by people stuffing the ballot boxes, or whatever the case might be, at the very least, I would think that they would want electoral reform, and I would think that they would want to get candidates who have been democratically elected to whatever extent possible, so that we could get better electoral reform. And so I don't think it should be a hard sell to try to get such people to say, yeah, we should give voters a full vote and not just a partial vote. It's, whether they're right or wrong about their conspiracy theories, either way, it's in their benefit. And, if they think there's something wrong with our elections, whether it's something that really is wrong or not something that really is wrong, either way, even more, they should want to improve our elections. Let's see. Tobin says, someone I like is Howie Hawkins from the Green Party. Yeah, I'm familiar with Howie Hawkins. The Green Party, I kind of like the Green Party, but got some things I've helped the Green Party a lot in a lot of ways, and there are things that it's impossible to help them with because they won't try. Things they don't even want to do. Like, for example, the Green Party pretty regularly runs a presidential candidate, but they never actually try to win. And I've gotten this from many people inside of the Green Party, and they probably ended up regretting having told me such things. I mean, they never told me, I'm not allowed to repeat them, but I have a feeling that, because I was helping the party out so much, they thought I was a member and wouldn't tell people if such things were said. But what I was told, including by presidential candidates under the Green Party, is that the reason they run a presidential candidate is to get matching funds, because if they get enough votes for president, the federal government gives them matching funds. So when people donate to their party, they get government money as well, if I understood that correctly. So basically, it's for money. And it also gives them some publicity. And I don't know if that was said, but I mean, it's a thing that's recognizable. It does give their party some publicity. But if we had the ability to vote for more than one candidate, the Green Party would get more votes. And I do think they would try to actually win the presidency at that point. I don't know if they'd succeed. Again, they're still not as well known as the Democratic Party or the Republican Party. And there would be some adjustment period. Well, people figure out how many options there really are. I mean, most people don't realize here in the United States that there are over 30 national parties and a whole bunch of local ones. Most just think there are two parties and that's it. I think an awful lot aren't even aware there's a such thing as independence or no party affiliation. Or here in California they call it no party preference, but that's actually a misnomer. I, for example, am registered as no party preference, but I definitely do have preferences. For example, right now, the Republican Party, which was not very good to start with, has basically gone completely nuts. And I would prefer they don't win anything at all right now. Again, unless they've got some actual good candidate running. But it's hard to imagine why a good candidate would even run under that party right now, because they've gone crazy. Yes, I remember hearing that same sentiment, that the Green Party seems to be trying to get on ballot or get matching funds. Yeah, exactly. It's a lot of work to get on the ballot to run as a presidential candidate. It's much harder for an independent than it is for a political party. It's much harder for the people to get a candidate on the ballot than it is for a political party to do, or for an independent to get themselves on the ballot than for a political party to do. And the process isn't the same in all states. And you do have to get yourself on the ballot in each state to be voted for as a presidential candidate in that state. There isn't any just like national process to get on the ballot nationally to run for president. And this was set up when there were, if I'm not mistaken, when there were only 13 states, and they were pretty close together. and for the most part, pretty close to the same size as each other. There were some differences, but not like there are now. And so, yeah, things have changed, and it wasn't really a great system then. It's badly outdated now. Um, but yeah, I mean, the Libertarian Party is an interesting one. I don't know how familiar you are with that. Uh, um, Kind of like the conservatives say they want small government, except with the Libertarian Party, it's a little more extreme than that. Not exactly that they want to have no government at all. I think some of them do, but more of that we should have next to no government, as little government as possible. And so, basically anybody who runs for a political office under such a party is, in a sense, being a bit of a hypocrite. They're like, we should not have people in government, so I'm going to run for government. um, yeah, and we do have a U.S. Nazi party, by the way. It's a funny thing because I've heard people talking about that. There are some Nazis in Ukraine, and the government knows about them, and so therefore they must condone it. And one of them even was declared a national hero at one point in time, back about a dozen years ago. And within a year, that award was taken away, by the way. And I believe it was a posthumous award at that. Not real certain, but yeah, people make mistakes, and I don't know, but I would guess there are people out there who are members of the U.S. Nazi Party who don't realize just how bad it is because they haven't seen the bad side of it. It's hard to imagine that, but I figure it's probably the case. Just like there are people in the Republican Party who don't see the bad side of that. And lately it's becoming a Nazi party that's not named a Nazi party. And they're like, well, see them doing everything the Nazis did, but they're not calling themselves the Nazis, so not bad, right? But it's a label. These party names, they're just labels. I mean, the Democratic Party, for example, isn't necessarily all that democratic. I mean, they're supposed to be. Yes, yes, there is a U.S. Nazi Party. Can I find? I don't know. I don't even know if I want to look for that. I think I'd rather not. I'll let you do your own research on that one. I was going to see if I could find their web page, but I think I'd rather not do that. Let's see. What about if I go to this? Where was the one that I had? Is this it? Let's see. What is Ballotpedia? Uh, .org, I believe it was. And let's see. National USA National Parties. I don't know if that'll find it or not, but see what I can find here. Let's see. Conservative Party, PACs and Super PACs, Republican Ready PAC. I was looking for a list because I was pretty sure on Ballotpedia they had a list. Maybe if I just run a Google search. List of USA parties. Let's make that national political parties. Let's see. List of political parties in the USA. Well, Wikipedia. Let's see. There's the Democratic Party and the Republican Party up there at the top, listed as major parties. And by the way, there are some laws that are specifically built around this idea of major parties. We've got two of them, and those two parties get special treatment. Um, because they're the major parties. Any party could end up taking over that position anytime, and then they would have that privilege. So in that sense, it's fair, but the laws are set up in such a way that it's really pretty close to impossible for anyone to ever take over that position. Uh, because again, the people think the only way to have any power in elections is join one of those two major parties. The politicians think the only way to have any chance of winning is join one of those two major parties. They get pretty much all of the power, and they have advantages getting candidates on the ballot and all kinds of stuff. So here we've got Libertarian Party, Vermont Progressive Party, Independent Party of Oregon. Those are listed under what represented in state legislature. Okay, so these are parties that actually have have candidates who won state legislature positions. There's three of those represented in the legislature of the unincorporated territory of Puerto Rico. Got 5 of them listed there. And let's see, multi-state or territory. There's the Green Party. There's Constitution Party, Working Family Party, Alliance Party, Reform Party, Working Class Party, Party for Socialism and Liberation, American Independent Party, not to be confused with actually independent, Peace and Freedom Party, Legal Marijuana Now Party, Unity Party, Natural Law Party, Approval Voting Party, which should be helping me out on this, because what I'm pushing for essentially is approval voting. Although rank score voting or range voting is more powerful than approval voting. Approval voting is actually a subset of range voting. It's range voting that has a range of 0 to 1 with nothing in between. So basically, you have non-approval and full approval, as opposed to, say, for example, 50% approval or 75% approval. Then there's Justice Party and People's Party 2017. Not sure what the 2017 is. Oh, the Movement for a People's Party, MMP. Apparently that's got representation in Florida, and so I don't know why it's on here as multi-state or territory. Is that their headquarters? Ballot access. Okay. So yeah, some of those in this list have only one state listed. Then there's single state or territory, and there's Conservative Party of New York, Libertarian Party of New York, Libertarian Party of New Mexico, Oregon Progressive Party. These are what I was saying. They're local parties, but there's also like the Democratic Party is a national party, but there are also local branches of it that are named kind of like that in some cases with the individual states. So Oregon Progressive Party, Green Mountain Peace and Justice Party, Alaskan Independence Party, Independent Party of Delaware, United Utah Party, Ecology Party of Florida, Independent Party of Florida, again, not to be confused with independent voters, Aloha Aina Party of Hawaii, Grassroots Legalized Cannabis Party, Labor Party, United Citizens Party, Independent Citizens Movement, Sovereign Union Movement, and what is this? Active parties. Here, active parties without ballot access, multi-state or territory, and let's see. Is that Nazi party in this list? I don't know. Easy way to find out. National Resistance Party, neo-Nazism, American Nazi Party. There it is. That one's listed as historical. Maybe they're not there anymore this election. Any rate, I have a phone call coming in. I'm gonna just send a quick message saying I'll be right back, or that I'll call them back, and then I'm gonna, let's see, call you right back. So I'm gonna take a look and see what I've missed in the comments here and try to wrap this up soon. Let's see. Where was I? To improve the system, I think require more people be involved. Read that one already. Problem I could see would take. Let's see. Someone I like. Howie Hawkins. Yes, I remember hearing that. Yes, Nazi Party. Christian nationalists. Yeah, that's another name for Nazis. Actually, the name for the Nazi Party literally just meant nationalist, but it was a Christian nationalist, because Germany was a Christian country at the time, and that's where that originated. So, it was just kind of assumed everybody was Christian and didn't need to be put in the name, and but um, yeah, Hitler actually made his own branch of Christianity. Um, seemed to, well, I mean, who knows how much of what history recorded is true. This is why history is my worst subject, because you can't trust much of it. But as I understand it, I think he like hated the Catholics, hated Christianity, but still started his own Christianity. Hated the Jews for having killed Jesus because he, was a Christian who hated the other branches of Christianity, and basically started his own um, like he's the new pope kind of thing or something like that. And the USA has something very much like that going on right now. And yeah, a lot of them are actually calling themselves Christian nationalists. A few are actually calling themselves Nazis, but um, when they do that, they tend to get told by other people in the Republican Party that they need to use the term Christian nationalist instead, um, because people aren't ready to embrace the Nazi Party just yet. And but yeah, it's basically the Republican Party is evolving into a Nazi Party that's not named the Nazi Party, and we need to do better than that. We really do. Um, so yeah, I'll wrap this video up, and I will try to get on sometime soon and make another one. I've been meaning to do this for quite a while. My computer was basically buried, um, and like I said, health problems been a little difficult. Okay, a lot difficult, and trying to address these problems from every way that I could. And this was one way that I knew I should have been doing, but it was just difficult to get everything set back up, and check the software, make sure it's working, check the hardware, make sure it's working, and everything else. So I did it. So hopefully be able to come back on soon. Looking at the live chat, Hitler had bishops, if I recall correctly, a part of his government. Yeah, I think that's correct. Also, again, history is my worst subject. I'm not a great source for history, and there again, that U.S. Nazi Party. Um, what I was just looking at on that web page says historical, so maybe it's been closed down, or maybe they just all moved into the Republican Party and took it over. Um, don't really know, but I know just recently it was still an active party. They of course had trouble getting ballot access anywhere, so there's that. Uh, and yeah, I hope I hope YouTube doesn't like block this video or something, because I've mentioned that party's name so many times in it. But I do think that's an important thing to be discussed. There are a lot of things that need to be discussed that aren't necessarily real palatable, but we got to deal with things and try to make things better. Uh, Garrett says, cheers, this was fun. And I've gained a more perspective view of this voting system. Not sure what to call it. The system that allows you to cast a vote of approval for as many candidates as you want is called approval voting. It is a subset of range voting or score voting. I forget exactly what the difference is between range and score. I think they're basically the same thing by two different names, but it seems to me there was some subtle difference in implementation between them. But basically, you can have a range. Like, for example, if you wanted to allow someone to vote against someone, you could have a range from -1 to +1. You could vote -1, 0, or 1. But you also could break that down smaller and make it so a person could vote like -0.95 or +0.7321 or whatever. There are different ways to put these systems together. But if one thing I'll try to say before I close this thing up, our electoral college, it's an archaic thing. The only reason it really ended up existing is because there were states who basically said, well, we're too small to be represented by just the people. We, meaning, of course, the governments of those states, are saying, we don't have enough people to represent our state equally with other states that way. That's also, by the way, why we have U.S. senators. The U.S. senators aren't really there to represent the people. They're there to represent the states. That's why each state has two of them, no matter the size of the state. The U.S. representatives in Congress are there to represent the people. Now, ideally, they should both be representing the people because it's supposed to be a democracy. And the people, of course, can talk to U.S. representatives or to senators, or rather to their offices. I suppose in small states, they might occasionally get to actually speak with the actual legislator, but in a big state, forget about it. Probably never going to happen. But yeah, the Electoral College was put in place in order to get the smaller states to join the Union. And it was set up the way it was set up because of the way things were back then. Now, we have forms of transportation that didn't exist back then. We have telephones, we have radio, we have the internet. So really, we don't need the electors anymore, because we don't need to have a state send one elector for each electoral college vote to come and vote on behalf of the people to tell the federal government how the people said they wanted the votes to be for that state. We could just do the math. We could literally just send the math from each state to the federal government, and take the people out of it, because we do have the problem of, what if an elector decides to change people's vote? If the people vote for one candidate, the elector who's supposed to represent that candidate votes for a different candidate. That's a thing. It happens occasionally. And then we have this thing that happened in 2020 where they tried to replace slates of electors with other slates of electors who would vote differently than the people voted, and have those counted instead. So we really should just change it to numbers. And they wouldn't have to be integer numbers either. Like, California gets 55 electoral college votes. Why not just, if half the people vote for one candidate and half vote for the other candidate, give half of the electoral college votes to each candidate. So half of 55 is 27 and a half electoral college votes to each of two candidates. If you get one gets 49% of the vote, one gets 51% of the vote, then give one 49% of the electoral college votes, and the other one 51% of the electoral college votes. But here's the thing: when you allow approval voting for the people, then you have the possibility that the Electoral College votes can be counted more than once, giving the states a little more power if they allow their people to have that option. So, for example, if there's a candidate who everybody likes, that candidate might get 100% of the votes. In other words, everybody who votes for that candidate. Some other candidate might be good enough that they get 75% of the votes. So now you got 175% of the votes. And that's okay, because one candidate would get 100% of the Electoral College votes, if we're talking presidential election, and this other candidate would get 75% of the Electoral College votes, and maybe some other candidate would get 4% of the Electoral College votes. So let's see. We should start feeling better. Thanks for talking with us. I like the message you're sending. Thanks. I appreciate that. Um, I don't know if I will try to put an advance notice out when my next live stream will be coming on. I think I should be doing that, but again, not sure if I'm gonna, be sure enough of feeling up to live streaming at a particular time that I'll be able to do that. So we shall see. Let's see. I have made some recent pro-government content. I'd like to see more people care about government. If you've got something you want to share with me on Twitter, that account I showed earlier, TZDAK, where I've got my poll up there, you could direct message to me on that one. That is my secondary Twitter account. I've only got like 70 something followers on there. As a matter of fact, I'm not sure, but I think I might have more votes in that Twitter poll right now than I have followers. If not, I'm awfully close to it. But it could still use more. And there's I think 3 days left for the poll. So if you want to have a look at it, if you got Twitter, consider doing that. And if you don't have Twitter, it's a real easy thing to sign up for, by the way. So there's that. Any rate, I'm gonna get going and return that phone call. Thank you very much for your time and for hearing me out. And I hope you will tell other people, share my Twitter poll with people, share this video with people, and just try to, in general, get the word out. The thing is, we need to not rely on politicians to do the stuff for us that we need. We need to encourage them to, but don't rely on it. Rely on each other, because if enough of us are demanding something, the politicians will have to get it done. And there are politicians who want to do things for the people that they know the people want, like Bernie Sanders, for example. He generally wants to do what we want. I mean, he tries real hard to know what we want, and to the extent he's able to do that, he generally agrees with the people and will push for the same things. But the more of us are pushing for it, the easier it is to make a case to other politicians to say, look, you guys need to support this too. Haven't been on Twitter here in a while. Should go check my account and I'll share one with you. Sure, that would be cool. Yeah. If you want to send it to me in a private message, you can do that. Or if you want to maybe send it as a reply to my my recent Twitter poll, that would be fine as well. I did make a similar poll on my primary Twitter account, by the way, but I made it as a reply to someone, and I think basically nobody saw it. But yeah, if you want to find my regular Twitter account, it's obvious enough, I could tell you. But instead of doing that, I'll just say, if you look through the Twitter thread attached to the Twitter poll on my TZDAK account, at the end of that thread, or somewhere right near the end of the thread, there is a link to the pinned thread on my primary Twitter account. and that one describes a much more detailed um, electoral reform that actually would start out with, or could be started out by, removing that restriction that keeps people from casting their full vote. Um, there are several stages beyond that, but the thing is, big things like that don't have to be done all at once. I really wish legislators would stop making multi-hundred-page legislation and instead, you know, break them up basically as small as they can and pass each thing individually. I know that means they have to do a whole lot more voting, and that's extra work for them, but I think it would be worth it. They in the end they'd get more done, and more to the point, um, they'd get better stuff done, because it would be, really hard to sneak things in when they're passing legislation that's as short as they can make it. And sneaking things in has been a problem that uh, both sides have had to deal with. I say both sides because effectively we've got two sides. I mean, heck, we've got two independents in the Senate right now, U.S. U.S. senators that are independent, and they both caucus with the Democrats. Why? Because if they formed an independent caucus, they'd never have enough people in their independent caucus to outvote the Democrats or the Republicans. So they go with the party that at least tries to do stuff for the people, because they're independent, and that's as close as they can get to a group of politicians who, like them, want to do stuff for the people. Made a typo. Which was the typo? Haven't been on Twitter. Well, can't share it with you. I missed the typo, I think. Not sure. Oh well. Yeah, I usually use voice to text when I type, by the way, because if I don't have my reading glasses on, I can't really see what I'm typing, and it's difficult to go back and edit. So a lot of times I just don't. Might not notice a mistake. That's voice to text can change my words in some really drastic ways sometimes. So not to say I don't make any mistakes of my own. That happens too, but much more often it's voice to text doing it for me. Any rate, thanks again. See you next time, hopefully. Well, technically, I won't see you. You'll see me if you see my video. Put a question mark without intending to. Oh, the question mark. Okay, I see what you mean. Yeah, yeah, there is a period in between there. I thought there was a period in between there. I wasn't real sure. I just thought it was like strange punctuation, like period and then question mark. But I wasn't sure how to take that. But I figured take it as both a statement and a question. So I answered it as a question, and understood the statement. I'm a linguist. I'm used to some contorted ways of thinking about language. All right, take care. Thanks again.